welcome to what is my kind of empty and bare office here at Barton College. As you know, I'm not on campus very often, so my office kind of sucks. But anyway, let's get started by looking at last week. Now, I'm having to record this early before all the assignments are due for a number of different reasons. And so I apologize if I don't get to some of your questions and answers. But this is the best I could do with the circumstances. I had to work ahead a little bit this week. So like always, let's look back at last week. The question I asked about EI, I'm not going to show the answers because the answers are all over the place. Basically from, yeah, it's a real thing, we need to understand it, to, no, it's complete and utter total crap. And so the reality is probably somewhere in the middle, right? I mean, that's usually how it is. We all need to understand it and understand how other people believe it impacts relationships as part of leadership, right? Some people may buy in fully to the ideas, and then when you interact with them, you have to understand how that impacts their perception. Now, it's not complete and utter junk, right? If I come across it, like if I'm all red in the face and like spitting as I'm talking and mad, people are gonna be like, what the hell? If I am, promoting emotions one way or another, it's gonna impact how that message is received. So like if you say something mad, people may pay less attention to it than if you say it calmly or whatever else. So it is a thing. I think you can probably take it too far like anything else in the world, or you can ignore it too far like anything else in the world. All right, so let's move on to the questions from the videos. From the looking back video, yeah, I like to share my thoughts, right? Someone said, thank you for sharing your thoughts. I'm a teacher. We like to talk and tell everyone that we're right. Yeah, it is what it is. All right, let's move on. Why do I use a book even if I don't 100% believe in it? And I think this answer sums up perfectly. Yeah, it's something everyone should learn about, whether you like it or not. You got to know about it, right? And you got to know how other people may see it. I also like to show things that I disagree with, and then we can talk about why we disagree with them. One thing we don't do enough in society is argue, is disagree. You hear that thing like when you go to family reunions, you don't talk about politics or religion or something else. I think there's a third thing. And my answer is, why not? Why can't we talk about it? Why can't we have a civil discourse? Why can't we have a civil argument? She was gone before most of you started here, but Dr. Claudia Duncan was a dean here at Barton College. Her and I literally disagree on everything in the world. She's my best friend. We are complete opposite people from opposite backgrounds with opposite political and social beliefs. And the best time we have is we will sit down together and argue. And we do it respectfully. We both understand where each other's coming from. Usually there's a bottle of wine involved. But we talk about those things that you're not supposed to talk about. And that's why we're such good friends. And that's what has made both of us able to listen and appreciate other ideas. So yes, sometimes we need to look at things and we need to talk about things even when they're uncomfortable. All right. Has your intuition ever helped you? The answers almost all are yes. And I'm not going to go through them, but some of them are actually a little bit personal. All right. What was my last question here? Oh, why was it important to note that someone was pregnant? It's not. This. Did I talk about it in the video? But it angers me. It angers me. Because that's a temporary situation. Why are you pointing that out? Does it impact who that person is? It doesn't. It doesn't. All right. Now, I may use that description if I'm involved in like a law enforcement chase. Well, if someone's 9 months pregnant, there's not a lot of people running in an area that are 9 months pregnant. So I might be something to identify them by in a very quick, but it's not a representation of who they are as a person. And it shows a bias, and a bias that just frustrates me. And if you're going to show that bias, what other biases do you have that you're maybe not covering up as at work, right? So it's interesting to see the difference in answers between men and women about the idea. And there's both good in here. And this person, I want to give them all kinds of credit because I did not see it this way. They said they mentioned it to ensure that the pregnancy is treated fairly as well. I never thought about it from that perspective, and thank you for bringing that up. I don't think that was their intent, or maybe I'm just too grumpy, or maybe I read too much into things at times, but maybe it was their intent to make sure they were treated fairly. I don't know. I just don't know. All right. I'm sorry you have this perception. Yeah, that was just being condescending, right? In the end. All right. And all of you, how do you respond to because I said so? Most of the time, it depends on who says it, and I reacted either poorly or well to it. It kind of depends on the situation. All right, let's move on. Appreciate your answers here. Some of them are very honest. I asked, will you continue to read? Maybe. Okay, maybe. I believe. Yes, but not forced. Okay, if something interests me. I made it a habit to read. Yes. Think not first. I go over. I'll pick it up again. And so this is one thing. It's a great statement because so often we, at different times in our lives, our priorities are different, and our time is different. We have more free time or less free time at different times in our lives. So let's say you just you're younger and you just had a set of twins. You probably don't have much time for reading, right? But when those twins turn 18 and go to college or leave the house or whatever else, you might have a little bit more time. So these things come and go. There's a lot of studies out there that show if you read one book a month, there's all kinds of improvement in your brain and learning and all kinds of other stuff. And it doesn't have to be even a book about leadership or anything even good. You could read a book about a fiction book about like the underwater basket that comes to life and smothers all the sponges, and then because the sponges died, the food chain collapsed. Hey, this is a good book. Anyway, it could be anything. It doesn't matter what it is. All right. I might have AI write me that book. Yes, and green more. All right. Oh, this person presents and getting a DBA. Fantastic. Good luck. Dissertations are all kinds of fun. Just so you know. All right. How do you give a good oral presentation? And in the end, it's engaging the audience. And all of you have different ideas on how to engage that audience. And it depends. It's different for each person, right? I practice nothing at this point in my career because I'm better impromptu. If you're nervous about it, or you're like, there are some topics now that I know so well, and I'm recognized as an expert, and I can just get up and talk. There are others that I will review a lot beforehand. It depends on the situation. So it varies on the topic, who you're presenting to, but you need to find a way to get the audience. Stage fright. Yeah, most people have stage fright or did have stage fright. Yeah. All right. And then I asked about Riz. I just throw that in there. It's one of those things. This week, the whole what's up, brother? Thing from not Switch. One streaming service that are on video. You watch video games on. Whatever. Right? These things come and go. But yeah, I don't think I can be the Rizzler. I don't think that'll work. All right. Yeah, it's one of those things. Eventually, you'll be a little older, and some of the terminology will go past you. Unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of skibbity. Not even really sure what it means. Although I know the middle schoolers around me are using it a lot, so I guess I got to figure it out. All right, so let's move on from that. It's about, can you be a leader without giving up some things? And someone said probably not all, but yes. Someone said no, I'm not interested in becoming a huge leader. Okay. You can't without sacrificing something. And I think that's the overall set of answers. To get to a certain part of leadership, you have to give up something. Now you have to balance out what that something is, right? And I will say, do you want to be president of the United States? You have to give up, honestly, your freedom. The ability to go anywhere, like even the bathroom without being watched. You have to give up, you have to sacrifice things. That's an extreme example. But many times if you look at the leaders out there today, if you look at Elon Musk, he gives up his time. He's famous for sleeping under his desk at work, selling his fancy houses because he just stays at work. Maybe a little extreme. I would love to have his money. I'm not willing to do that. I'm not willing to give that up. So in the end, you have to sacrifice something, and you have to figure out if that sacrifice, whatever. And this sentence sums it up. I'm okay with giving up things to progress because I don't want to look back from my life and say I accomplished nothing out of fear. Yeah, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of trying. It's interesting when you're just starting out your career. You can try and fail because you don't have much to lose, right? When you get to that midpoint in your career, it's a little bit harder because you've got other things, you got other responsibilities, and it is a little harder to be risky. You get to the end of your career, I risk stuff every day. I don't care. Fire me. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. And I take risks all the time, and it's interesting to see how that's progressed along the way. So, all right, group projects. Well, I don't. I do like, not really. I do. I like. Yeah, and I think I explained, right? In the end, we don't do group projects well at school. It's not like it is at work. We haven't found a better way. Maybe if you go out and get some experience, and you can find a way to make group projects work the same way they do at work. Come back in 15 years after you've been doing it at work for a while and say, this is how we can do it. Whew, you can start your own educational consulting company and make several $1 million going around teaching people how to do it. So we try our best. It's just not the same as it is. All right. I'm not going to go through this question. And CQI. So continuous quality improvement. The answer for the most part is no. It's something that I think all of us should learn along the way. It didn't really exist as a topic, even when I went to college, and I've had to pick up pieces on the way. So learn about CQI a little bit on your own if you haven't. I promise you, just knowing the basics of it, watch a 10-minute YouTube video on what it is, so you can speak the language, will be helpful in your career. All right, any other questions? All right, that's it. All right, so that's all I'm going to talk about in this video, and then I'll put up the next video. If you have any questions about any of that, when am I going to record the next video? I don't know. I'll figure that out. But if you have any questions, please let me know. If not, I will see you in the next video. Have a great day.